Alright, so we might have just gotten a look at the entire plot for Avengers Doomsday. A massive new leak has surfaced, and honestly, unlike a lot of the rumors we usually see, this one just feels right. It seems to connect everything from the Marvel's post-credit scene to hints from set photos and the whispers we've been hearing about Dr. Doom's master plan. We really have to talk about how Doom's rumored plot to kidnap Franklin Richards could be the thing that brings the Avengers and the X-Men to war. So, let's get into it. What we're looking at today is a huge, sprawling story that could be the blueprint for one of the biggest movies ever, Avengers Doomsday. Now, before we go any further, I have to give the big disclaimer. You have to take this, like any leak, with a giant grain of salt. We know Marvel Studios is a fortress, and they are the masters of misdirection. The movie that hits theaters could be completely different. But, and this is a big but, we also know that where there's smoke, there's sometimes a multiversal fire. And this leak? It feels like more than just smoke. It's packed with details that seem to line up almost a little too perfectly with things we've heard from other insiders and clues we've pieced together from past MCU projects. Our job today is to take this giant new puzzle piece and see how it fits into the bigger, chaotic picture of MCU speculation, and hopefully have that aha moment where it all clicks together. The core idea of this rumored plot is staggering. It suggests the main conflict in Avengers Doomsday is all about the grand design of Dr. Victor Von Doom. His goal isn't just taking over the world, it's basically multiversal annihilation. To do this, he allegedly orchestrates the kidnapping of Franklin Richards, the super-powerful son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. This act supposedly forces the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and more to team up against him in a desperate, maybe even doomed fight. This leak claims to map out the whole story, from the very beginning to a devastating ending that would lead right into Avengers Secret Wars. So let's dive into the multiverse of speculation. We're going to go through this leak piece by piece, and after each big plot point, we'll pause and talk about why it actually makes a whole lot of sense. According to this big leak, the movie starts not with a huge fight, but with science. In Wakanda, Shuri, our new Black Panther and one of the smartest people on the planet, is supposedly the first to realize something is terribly wrong. Using Wakanda's advanced tech, her systems start picking up terrifying cosmic signals. The fabric of reality is literally tearing apart. She identifies these events as incursions, catastrophic collisions where two universes are crashing into each other, which would destroy one or both of them. The leak claims that Shuri, knowing how big this threat is, immediately reaches out to the new leaders of Earth 616. She calls Sam Wilson, our new Captain America, who is the strategic and moral core of the Avengers. She gets a hold of Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme, whose job is to protect reality from these kinds of threats. She brings in Bruce Banner for his scientific genius, and just as importantly, she contacts Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, who has seen firsthand how fragile the universe can be. This opening is described as being incredibly tense. It's not about action. It's about that slow, dawning horror as they realize that everything they've ever fought for is at risk on a scale they can barely imagine. The multiverse is no longer a cool theory. It's a direct threat to their existence. Okay, let's stop there for a second. Why does this sound so believable? First, having Shuri be the one to sound the alarm is a great choice that respects the MCU's history. Wakanda has always been way ahead of the curve technologically. It just makes sense that their instruments would be the first to detect a disturbance in space-time. After Wakanda Forever, Shuri has really stepped into her role as a world leader, and her taking charge here feels like a natural step for her character. Second, the team she gathers is the perfect snapshot of the current MCU. You have the grounded leadership of Cap, the magical protection of the Sorcerer Supreme, the cosmic power of Captain Marvel, and the scientific mind of Bruce Banner. This isn't just a random group of heroes, it's a brain trust. It immediately shows that this isn't a problem you can just punch your way out of. This aligns with the threat of incursions from the comics, which were more of a problem of cosmic mechanics than a simple villain plot. Finally, starting with the quiet discovery of this cosmic horror sets a tone of dread. It's like the beginning of a great disaster movie. The heroes are reacting to the laws of physics, turning against them, which immediately raises the stakes higher than anything we saw with Thanos. Thanos wanted to wipe out half of life. Incursions threatened to wipe out reality itself. Just as the Avengers start to process the threat of incursions, the problem crashes right down to Earth. A ship that is clearly not from their universe crash lands, and out of the wreckage come four people comic fans will know instantly: the Fantastic Four. Now, according to the leak, this isn't their origin story. This team, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, are refugees. Their universe has already been destroyed by an incursion, and they barely got out alive. The casting for this team has been a huge topic, and the leak points to the officially announced cast: Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Backrack as The Thing. While we know they're in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, this leak suggests their dramatic debut is right here, in Avengers Doomsday. They arrive with a desperate warning. Reed Richards, the smartest man from his reality, explains that he couldn't save his world. But their tragedy is also deeply personal. Their son, Franklin Richards, has been kidnapped. The kidnapper is the man Reed has fought his whole career. The man he thinks might have caused the destruction of his home universe, Dr. Doom. The leak also details a rumored post-credit scene showing the kidnapping itself. It reportedly shows Sue Storm leaving Franklin for just a moment, before the shadows in the room form into the armored figure of Dr. Doom, who grabs the child and disappears. This would instantly show how powerful Doom is and what's at stake. The Fantastic Four aren't just here to warn about a cosmic threat. They're on a mission to save their son from the multiverse's most dangerous villain. So, why does this make perfect sense? Introducing the Fantastic Four as refugees from another universe is a brilliant way to handle it. It skips the need for another long origin story in their own movie. By having them show up fully formed and dealing with this immense trauma, they are immediately compelling characters. They're not rookies. They are heroes who have already lost everything. It also ties them directly into the multiverse saga's main plot. Their personal quest to save Franklin is a smaller version of the bigger battle to save the entire multiverse. And making Franklin Richards the goal is so smart. In the comics, Franklin is an incredibly powerful mutant who can warp reality itself. Making him the thing the villain needs is way more emotional than chasing another cosmic object. It gives the heroes a goal we can all understand: save the boy. It also gives the villain a terrifyingly logical reason for his actions: capture the boy to control reality. This makes Dr. Doom instantly personal and vile. This approach also sets up their solo film perfectly. The Fantastic Four movie could then be a prequel showing their life before the destruction, or a sequel about them trying to build a new life. It's a non-linear way of telling their story that would make Marvel's first family feel fresh from the moment they arrive. With the threat laid out in the Fantastic Four's desperate plea hanging in the air, the leak gets to the villain's plan. And this is where the rumors get really wild. A widespread, though unconfirmed rumor that this leak includes is that Dr. Victor Von Doom will be played by Robert Downey Jr. Let's be very clear. This is probably the most explosive part of the leak, and it is absolutely not confirmed by Marvel Studios. But if it were true, it would be one of the gutsiest casting moves in movie history. The actor who built the MCU as its greatest hero returning as its greatest villain would be a mind-bending twist. The leak suggests this wouldn't be Tony Stark from another universe, but Victor Von Doom, a totally new character who just happens to have the face we all associate with Iron Man. According to the leak, Doom's plan is terrifyingly logical. He's seen the incursions and knows the multiverse is dying. But unlike the heroes who want to save it, Doom sees it as flawed and weak. His solution isn't to save reality, but to control its end and build a new one from the ashes, one ruled by him. He plans to speed up the final incursion, collapsing all universes into one point, and then use Franklin Richards' immense power to shape that into a new world, Battle World. Doom is described as being proactive and ruthless. He isn't waiting around. His actions have apparently gotten the attention of the TVA, which could lead to a weird situation where the Avengers have to protect Loki and the TVA from Doom, since they are the only ones holding what's left of the multiverse together. His goal is to become a god, not because he's evil, but because he truly believes he's the only one smart enough and strong enough to bring order to all of existence. He's a dark mirror of characters like Tony Stark or Reed Richards, geniuses who think they can solve any problem. The kidnapping of Franklin is the key to his whole plan. With Franklin's power, he can survive the end of everything and become the architect of whatever comes next. He will become God Emperor Doom. Why does this make so much sense? The rumored Robert Downey Jr. casting is thematically brilliant. Seeing that face, which we connect with heroism and sacrifice, on a purely villainous character would be deeply unsettling. Imagine the new heroes having to fight a man who looks just like their fallen mentor. The potential for psychological drama is off the charts. Doom's motivation here is also perfectly in line with his comic book character. Doom is a genius who genuinely believes his rule is the only path to peace. The leak presents his plan as a twisted kind of salvation. He sees the multiverse as a dying patient and thinks he's performing a necessary, brutal surgery. This makes him a much more interesting villain than someone who just wants to watch it all burn. Finally, connecting his plan to creating Battle World is a direct nod to the iconic 2015 Secret Wars comic storyline. That story started with the final incursion and Dr. Doom creating Battle World from the wreckage, with himself as its god. This leak suggests Avengers Doomsday is the story of how the heroes lose and how God Emperor Doom wins, setting the stage for a sequel where the survivors have to overthrow a literal god. Faced with this apocalyptic threat, the call goes out. This is where the leak suggests we'll see the biggest crossover in MCU history, even bigger than Endgame. The core Avengers are front and center. Sam Wilson's Captain America steps up to lead. Thor brings the cosmic power. Bruce Banner brings the brains and the muscle. But they're just the start. The leak suggests the return of Shang-Chi is critical, since the 10 rings are ancient artifacts that could be key to fighting the multiversal threat. Famously, set photos have circulated showing Simu Liu training alongside James Marsden, who is rumored to be returning as Cyclops from the Fox X-Men films, which is one of the strongest pieces of physical evidence supporting these crossover theories. The roster keeps growing. We might see the Thunderbolts, with Yelena Belova and Bucky Barnes, whose morally gray approach could clash with the other heroes. Wakanda's forces, led by Shuri and M'Baku, would be on the front lines with their essential technology. The leak even mentions Namor, suggesting the shaky truce between Wakanda and Talokan will be put to the test. And then there are the multiversal players. The leak strongly suggests Doctor Doom's actions will pull in heroes from across the dying multiverse. This is where the classic X-Men are rumored to come in, with potential returns of Patrick Stewart as Professor X and other members of the Fox cast. Their universe supposedly becomes a key battleground. The plan that forms is multi-pronged and desperate. 1. Rescue. Monica Rambeau. First, they have to deal with the cliffhanger from the Marvels. Monica is trapped in what appears to be the Fox X-Men universe. Getting to her isn't just about saving her. Her powers could be crucial. 2. Save Franklin Richards. This is the main emotional goal, driven by the Fantastic Four. Saving the boy means saving a child and taking away Doom's power source. Brown. Stop the incursions, the big scientific and mystical goal. This would be up to Shuri, Banner, Reed Richards, and Wong. 4. Confront Dr. Doom, the final inevitable showdown in Latveria to stop his plan at its source. Why does this massive team-up make sense? First, it delivers on the whole promise of the multiverse saga. The point of all this is to have these epic, impossible crossovers. Bringing the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men together is the dream fans have had for decades. The rumored creative team has a strong track record of handling huge casts in movies like Infinity War and Endgame, though their involvement is also still just a rumor. The character arcs also track. Sam Wilson leading the charge is the culmination of his journey. Shang-Chi's involvement expands on the lore from his film. The presence of the Fox X-Men isn't just fan service. It's supposedly driven by the story. Monica being trapped in their universe gives the 616 heroes a perfect reason to cross over, connecting the Marvel's post-credit scene directly to the plot of Doomsday. And here we get to what could be the tragic centerpiece of the whole movie. With the heroes mobilized, they manage to cross into the Fox X-Men's universe to rescue Monica Rambeau, but Dr. Doom is always 10 steps ahead. According to the leak, Doom doesn't just wait. He masterfully manipulates the situation. He frames the Avengers' arrival as an invasion. He supposedly convinces Professor X and the X-Men that these intruders are the ones causing the incursions that are tearing their reality apart. He paints the heroes of 616 as the enemy, and the X-Men, defending their home, have no choice but to fight. This sets the stage for the conflict fans have always talked about, Avengers versus X-Men. The leak describes a huge, heartbreaking battle where heroes fight heroes. Imagine Captain America's shield blocking Cyclops' optic blasts, or the Thing trading blows with Juggernaut. This isn't a quick misunderstanding. It's a full-on war between two super teams who both think they're fighting for survival. Doom's manipulation is supposedly so perfect that each side sees the other as the ultimate threat. While these two powerful teams are trying to destroy each other, Dr. Doom is left completely free to finish his plan. The whole fight is a grand distraction and the heroes walk right into it. Why does this feel so right? First, it's pure Dr. Doom. Manipulation is his greatest weapon. He wins with his mind. Turning his enemies against each other is his classic move. This is far more true to his character than just another big CGI fight. Second, it's a great way to have a hero versus hero battle where nobody is the bad guy. Both the Avengers and the X-Men have good reasons for fighting. Their conflict comes from fear and desperation, with a master manipulator pulling the strings. It's a real tragedy, and it's the core idea of civil war blown up to a multiversal scale. The visual evidence of Simu Liu and James Marsden training together also adds a lot of weight to this idea. While they could be teaming up, a confrontation between the disciplined martial artist and the unwavering field leader of the X-Men is an incredible matchup. Finally, this conflict explains how the heroes could possibly lose. How could all these heroes fail? The answer is they were fighting the wrong enemy. By wasting all their energy fighting the X-Men, they hand Dr. Doom the victory. It's a classic, tragic twist that makes their failure feel earned, setting up a truly devastating ending. While the Avengers and X-Men are fighting their tragic war, Dr. Doom plays his endgame. The leak describes the climax as somber, terrifying, and ultimately hopeless. The heroes lose completely. With Earth's protectors busy, Doom consolidates his power. He has Franklin Richards. He has his technology and sorcery ready. The final incursion begins, the collision between Earth 616 and the Fox X-Men universe. But instead of being destroyed, Doom harnesses the energy of the event. The leak details a sequence where reality itself just comes apart. The heroes finally realize they've been played, but it's too late. The sky rips open over their entire reality. Using Franklin's power as an anchor, Doom seizes control of the dying multiverse. He allows the final incursion to wipe out everything, and then, from nothing, he creates. The leak suggests the final shots of the movie are the birth of Battleworld. We see a patchwork planet made from pieces of dead realities, all held together by Doom's will. There's a piece of Asgard, a chunk of Xandar, a domain ruled by Hulks, and at the center of it all, Castle Doom. The very last shot is reportedly Dr. Doom, his armor glowing with cosmic power, looking over his new creation. He is God Emperor Doom, the ruler of the only reality left. The heroes' defeat is total. They now exist only because he allows them to, as subjects on his battle world. This would set a dark and incredible stage for the next film, Avengers Secret Wars, which is scheduled for release on December 17, 2027. The premise would be clear. A small band of survivors, trapped on a world ruled by a god, have to find a way to bring back a reality that doesn't even exist anymore. Why does this ending make so much sense? It's just narratively powerful. Superhero movies are often criticized for predictable endings. Having the heroes suffer a total, crushing loss is a brave choice. It would mirror the gut punch of Infinity War, but on a cosmic scale. It would also be a very faithful adaptation of the premise of the 2015 Secret Wars comic, which starts after Doom has already won. This rumor suggests Avengers Doomsday, currently set for December 18, 2026, is the story of how Doom won. This ending would also establish Doom as the ultimate MCU villain. To top Thanos, the next big bad had to be smarter. This version of Doom wins through pure intellect and strategy. The heroes don't lose because they're weak. They lose because he outthought them. This would solidify him as a legendary villain and make his eventual defeat in Secret Wars feel even more earned. So, that's the story. A huge, terrifying, and honestly, pretty incredible rumored plot for Avengers Doomsday. From Shuri discovering the incursions to the arrival of the Fantastic Four, Doom's master plan, the tragic war between the Avengers and the X-Men, and the final victory of God Emperor Doom. The reason this leak feels so credible is that it methodically connects so many dots from the MCU. It gives a powerful reason for the Fantastic Four's introduction, pays off the Marvel's cliffhanger, and gives Dr. Doom a motivation that is both terrifying and true to the comics. And most importantly, It sets up a faithful Secret Wars adaptation by having the heroes lose everything. Of course, and I have to say it again, as of July 2025, this is all just compelling speculation. Marvel Studios has not confirmed this storyline or the casting rumors about Robert Downey Jr. We know Marvel loves its secrets. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think this is the real plot for Avengers Doomsday? What part of this leak gets you the most excited? Is it the idea of RDJ as Doctor Doom, the tragic Avengers vs. X-Men fight, or that bleak epic ending? Let me know everything you're thinking down in the comments. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest leaks, rumors, and breakdowns for Avengers Doomsday and the future of the MCU, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.